cloud cover and a better chance for rain next week. We'll talk about that coming up.
All right, we'll see you soon. Thanks, Kristen. A serial bank robber suspected of robbing around a dozen banks in 5 states, including one right here in Horry County, has been captured. 37-year-old Chad Schaffner was arrested by police in Missouri after someone recognized him from the television show America's Most Wanted. Schaffner's face has also been plastered on billboards and flyers throughout several states. Authorities believe that he robbed banks in Illinois, Kentucky, Tennessee, North and South Carolina, again including the First Palmetto Savings Bank in Myrtle Beach back on August 10th. Schaffner is now facing numerous felony charges. An Horry County high school student from Myrtle Beach died early this morning in a car wreck just west of Conway. There were 2 people in the car, and it took 4.5 hours before help arrived. News Channel 15's Graham Moore is live in our Conway newsroom with more. Graham?
Well, Mola, I am sure there are a lot of what-ifs tonight.
A North Carolina man on his way to breakfast with his groomsmen just 4 hours before his wedding was killed in a car accident this weekend. 28-year-old Christopher Rayner was ejected from a car and then hit by another car and killed. That's after authorities say a 52-year-old man ran a red light and hit the car that Rayner was in just outside of Raleigh, North Carolina. Rayner was set to be married later in the day, but instead his family and friends held a memorial service at the church where he was going to be married. Authorities charged the 52-year-old man with misdemeanor death by motor vehicle.
This is News Channel 15 at 6 with Mola Lenghi.
Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Mola Lenghi. New tonight, an ATV accident late this afternoon left a Marion County man dead. Coroner Jerry Richardson says 30-year-old Bill Buskin Jr. and his girlfriend were riding on a 4-wheeler on Gilchrist Road in Mullins when the accident happened. Now, according to Richardson, Buskin lost his hat and looked back to get it. That's when Richardson says the ATV overturned and landed on Buskin's head. He died on the scene. Meanwhile, his girlfriend was thrown off of the ATV, but we're told she's expected to be okay. South Carolina investigators have exhumed the body of a Marlboro County woman who died last July. Brandy Simmons was originally thought to have died of an aneurysm after a fall in her home, but soon after, her family began to raise questions about how she died. After Simmons' funeral in July, her teenage daughter began to suspect that she may have been killed. Simmons' sister tells us the body was exhumed yesterday morning. Meanwhile, state police continue to investigate to see if there was any criminal involvement in Simmons' death. News Channel 15 has learned that federal charges have been dropped against a Florence woman accused of lying to police for her husband in the murder of his parents. Last month, a jury convicted this man, Timothy Poole, of the murders of his parents at their Williamsburg County estate. That was back in 2006. His wife, Jody Ann Poole, was granted full immunity for her testimony against her husband. Federal authorities dismissed the charges against Jody Ann Poole last week. Timothy Poole will be sentenced later this year. He faces up to 400 years in prison. The mother of missing Myrtle Beach spring breaker Brittany Drexel is expressing anger tonight toward the persons of interest in her daughter's case. Yesterday, we broke the news that detectives have multiple persons of interest in the case. April 25th will mark 1 year since Drexel vanished from Ocean Boulevard while on spring break. Investigators from Myrtle Beach and also Charleston and Georgetown counties think the 17-year-old from Rochester, New York was abducted and most likely killed.
I myself and Brittany's father and probably most of our family will be down in Myrtle Beach once they find out, what happened with Brittany, and this person's going to be very sorry for whatever they did to my daughter.
The investigation is centered around the Georgetown-Charleston County line. That's the area where detectives tracked Drexel's cell phone the night that she vanished. To read much more on the latest developments, just log on to your website, carolinalive.com. An Horry County home burned to the ground this morning. This is what's left of the home on Dunn Acres Drive off Highway 544 in Conway. Horry County Fire Rescue says the house caught fire around 6:30 this morning. They say that one person inside the home did suffer minor injuries, but is expected to be okay. Fire officials are still investigating how the fire began, but they say the home is a total loss. An aging jet carrying Poland's president, his wife, and much of the Polish government's leadership crashed early today while trying to land in dense fog in western Russia. Tonight, we're learning more about the pilot of that plane being strongly advised not to land. ABC's Jim Ciuto has the latest.
The jet fell from the sky, along with the spirits of the nation.
That was ABC's Jim Ciuto reporting. Chilly night outside tonight, even cool enough perhaps for a jacket if you're heading outside. Let's get right to First Alert meteorologist Kristen Van Dyke.
That's right, it is cool out there. Certainly not as warm as it was last weekend. Before another cool down heads in. I'll have those details for you coming up, Mola.
All right, we'll see you soon, Kristen. Thanks. The new president of what was Beach First Bank gave News Channel 15 a little insight today about the bank's failure. Beach First, with 7 branch locations along the Grand Strand, including its headquarters right here on Grissom Parkway in Myrtle Beach, folded yesterday. That was the first bank failure in South Carolina since 1999. Now, the branches will reopen Monday as branches of the Bank of North Carolina, which bought out Beach First. The new president talked to us about how Beach First failed.
I think just being on the coast, we've had a lot of, since 2005, we've had extreme expansion in building residential properties and building commercial real estate, all the way from Litchfield up into the Wilmington market, as you know. I think the bank really participated that in a meaningful way and got hurt because of the real estate market.
FDIC officials say that all Beach First deposits are safe and that online services will remain available and customers can continue to use their checks and debit cards through the weekend. If you have any questions, though, you can call that phone number right there, 1-866-954-9536. That line will be open from 9 to 6 p.m. through tomorrow. South Carolina's U.S. Senator Jim DeMint will be on Carolina This Week tomorrow talking health care reform. The senator talks about a wide range of subjects, but much of the conversation centers around the new legislation. He also touches on the statement that he made last year that health care reform would be President Barack Obama's Waterloo.
Do you stand by that? Do you still think this could be his Waterloo?
I think we're going to find out in November. And from what I'm seeing now across the country, the majority of Americans want us to repeal it. They want us to keep fighting it because they realize that this is going to cost them.
You can watch that entire interview with Senator DeMint, as well as an interview with State Attorney General Henry McMaster about his campaign for governor, Sunday morning at 9 a.m. right here on News Channel 15. Census workers and county leaders were out across the state today making a final push for people to fill out their census forms. These are a few pictures from Marion County, where census officials held a March to the Mailbox rally in the Britton's Neck community. Officials targeted that specific community due to a low response rate for census forms 10 years ago. And besides activities for the kids, officials also helped residents fill out their forms. In Carolina Forest, booths were set up outside of the ball fields on Carolina Forest Boulevard. As people walked in, volunteers reminded everyone to send in their forms. They were also giving away hats and hot dogs as well as t-shirts, all in an effort to get those forms filled out.
So we have met several people also that haven't received forms, so we do have some that they picked up and took back with them.
Now, if you don't return a form, as you know, you can expect a census worker to begin knocking on your door beginning next month. Well, it's less than 24 hours until the Extreme Makeover Home Edition episode that was shot in Horry County airs on ABC, right here on News Channel 15. Back in January, as you might remember, thousands of volunteers came together to build a home for the Suggs family of Loris. From the door knock to the big reveal, you can see it all tomorrow night. But before it airs, News Channel 15 will air an hour-long special, Extreme Dream, the Suggs Family, from 7 to 8 p.m. We'll have a look back at that very special week. We'll talk to the family as well as the builders, and we'll show you some never-before-seen footage shot by one of the designers. Then from 8 until 9, you can see that episode of Extreme Makeover Home Edition. Again, that's tomorrow night right here on News Channel 15.
This is News Channel 15 at 11 with Mola Lenghi.